13th April 1919, a day that is probably remembered by every Indian. This day was one of the most horrifying days in the history of India's freedom struggle. Thousands of people were killed in the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. A young boy by the name of Ujjain Singh witnessed the ghastly aftermath and has also solidified in his mind that he will take revenge against the perpetrators that killed his own kind. Today, I am reviewing the movie Sardar Udham. Sardar Udham stars Vicky Kaushal, directed by Shujit Sircar and produced by Ronnie Lahiri. Ujjain Singh was a revolutionary in colonized India who, after witnessing the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, decided to take a more active part in India's freedom struggle, joining the efforts of leaders like Bhagat Singh. His efforts take him to London, where he plots and carries out the assassination of the former Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, Michael O'Dwyer, also known as General Dyer, which after he willfully surrenders is tried and sentenced to death by hanging. The film Sardar Udham chronicles that story. Jallianwala Bagh sequence. The one long sequence you will hear about being talked about the most, that sequence is the flashback to Jallianwala Bagh when a young Udham reaches the venue after the massacre has taken place and he ferries the dying and the wounded on a cart to a local makeshift hospital. Shujit Sircar decides to place this very long and deeply moving sequence in the final act of the film, perhaps to offset the wild structure of the film thus far, bringing it to a close by dramatically, slowing down the pace to mimic Udham's life journey itself, who finally found peace knowing he had avenged his people. Where it all begins for him, at Jallianwala, is where Shujit decides to end it, exploring the psyche of a man who perhaps spent his entire life looking for the same tranquility he knew before 1919. Cinematography. The cinematography of Sardar Udham is breathtaking, to say the least. There is a pale rustic tone of the visual appeal of this film, mostly greys and blacks in United Kingdom, followed by a rustic sepia tone in Punjab. Every sequence in the United Kingdom has been captured with so many elements in the background, it just reflects on the scale at which this film has been made, making me think that the theatre experience would have been quite fascinating. The way the last 40 minutes of this film have been captured, you are definitely made of metal not known to man if it doesn't pull your heartstrings and make you weep all because of the horrifying visuals showcased with no filter and the powerful performance of Vicky Kaushal. Supporting actors. The success or failure of a film like this lies on the capability of the foreign actors in the film. Usually, foreign actors, especially white actors from the US or UK, tend to be portrayed in the most exaggerated, over-the-top fashion in Indian films. In examples like Thugs of Hindustan, the cringe performances are that of foreign actors. I have to say that it has to be the rare occasion where the supporting cast of British actors are not only understanding and realistic in their approach, but also very convincing, whether it has to be an activist in the form of Eileen, played by Kirsty Averton, or Stephen Hogan playing the role of Inspector John Swain. Both these actors and their interactions with Udham come across as natural and probably reflective of what may have happened. Beyond the foreign actors, Amol Parashar, in his brief roles as Bhagat Singh, is brilliant in this film, and actors whose energy and exuberance is something that I've always been a fan of. He shares some really poetic moments in this film. Vicky Kaushal. I can't think of a role where Vicky Kaushal has disappointed me. Vicky encapsulates every single stage of Ujjain Singh from 1919 to 1940 with such a chameleon-like ability that it just solidifies in my mind that he has all the characteristics to become a bona fide superstar. Uri may have led to the upward trajectory of him finally being considered to be in the big leagues of this industry, but the performance of a lifetime has solidified the same notion with Udham Singh. This is a special film on the historical figure that is symbolic as he represents more than just the act that he's famous for. He was the embodiment of a revolution that shook the oppressive ways of the imperialist forces that still find it tough to have a conscience to atone for the wrongs that have been done. This was absolutely Vicky's best acting to date. Final review. I give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. 1 star for the director Shujit Sarkar, who made this movie look easy yet impactful. 1 star for the movie's accurate set design and the marvelous cinematography. 1 star for Vicky Kaushal's outstanding performance. 1 star for the bold and meaningful writing in all Hindi, Punjabi and English. And a half star for the courage of the makers to recreate the Jallianwala Bagh incident. Negatives. Minus a half star for making this movie a bit long. I think it could have been a bit shorter. I would totally recommend watching this movie. Thank you.